Hi everyone, today we are going to discuss about the embedded system examples. The embedded systems are going to be divided into three types: small scale embedded system, medium scale embedded system, and sophisticated embedded system. We'll see one by one. A small scale embedded system. First, we'll see the examples. Through that examples, we'll divide the things. For small scale embedded system, the examples are a mobile phone, digital camera, robots, point of sales, terminals, for example, automatic chocolate vending machine, stepper motor controllers for the robotic system, washing or cooking system, multitasking toys, microcontroller based single or multi-display digital panel meter for voltage, current, resistance and the frequency, keyboard controller, serial port cards, the CD drive or a hard drive controller, peripheral controllers, CRT display controller, keyboard controllers, DRAM controller, DMA controller, printer controller, laser printer controller, LAN controller, disk drive controller, pads or a photocopy or printer or a scanner machine, TV remote, telephone with a memory, display and other sophisticated features, motor controller systems, electronic data acquisition and supervisory control system, spectrum analyzer, biomedical systems like ECD, that is LCD display, come recorder, blood cell recorder, come analyzer, patient monitoring. These all are the small scale embedded system example. They are going to have a small work, a limited memory, a limited processor speed, all those things. Then those applications will be considered as a small scale embedded system examples. We'll move to the next one: medium scale embedded system applications, electronic instruments, industrial process controller, electronic smart weight display system, and industrial moisturizer recorder cum controller, digital storage system for a signal waveform or electric or water meter readings, computer network systems, routers, hubs, switches, bridges, gateways, internet appliances. There are many internet appliances are there. All those that whatever the mail client cards, intelligent operations, administration, all this together comes under this internet appliances. These are the medium scale examples. The banking system, ATM card, debit cards, credit cards, signal tracking systems, automatic signal tracker, target trackers, communication systems such as the SIM cards, fax machines, TV cables, image filtering, image processing, pattern recognition, speech processing, video games, entertainment systems like video game, music system, video games. This all comes under the medium scale. Many are there. A little higher processor speed and the memory will be there in the medium scale. Next is the sophisticated embedded system applications, mobile smartphones and computing system, mobile computer embedded systems for wireless LAN and convergent technology devices, embedded systems for video, interactive video, broadband, IPv6. This all comes under the this sophisticated one. The higher versions will be there here. Higher versions of the system. See, normal mobile phone is a small scale embedded system example. The mobile smartphone is a sophisticated embedded system examples. Here it is going to have the same, the networking system we have seen in the medium scale, but a speed. The speed is high here. High speed, ultra high speed, large bandwidth, routers, LAN, switches, hubs, gateways, SAN, WAN, all together will come under the sophisticated one. Security products and the high speed network securities, gigabyte rate encryption products. This all will come under the sophisticated embedded system examples. All of you go to know this one. Next is the design process in an embedded system. How the design of the embedded system is going to be done. Here in the design, previously we have seen how we are going to be designing the system, software designing of the system. Same way here the designing will be there for the software and the hardware. Here the process followed for designing an embedded system is abstraction, hardware and software architecture, extra functional properties, system related family design, modular design, mapping, user interface design, refinements. These all things will come under the design process of an embedded system. First, in the abstraction, each problem component is first going to be abstracted. For example, abstraction of the robotic system problem can be in terms of the control of arms, robots. Like that, we are going to see the abstraction. Next is the hardware and software architectures. Architecture should be well understood before we are going to be designing. What all the hardware components should be used, what all the software components should be used, how they have to be communicated, which hardware should be communicated to which hardware device, that everything we are going to be doing here. The pictorial view we are going to see in the hardware and the software architecture. Next is the extra functional properties. Extra functional required in the system being developed should be well understood for the design. We have to understand the things. What extra functional properties are required? See, if it is a mobile phone, any extra devices are necessary. Getting, if it is a phone, what are the extra functionality are necessary? Telephone systems. If it is a ATM, what any additional things you have to be added? That everything you have to check out. Next, system related family of design. A family of related systems developed earlier are taken into consider during the design. See, before going to the 80, see, we are think that the 8086 is already developed. If we want to develop a higher version of that one, then what are the extra functionality things you have to be added? What is the work of the previous that family design? You have to check out those things. Next is the modular design. Modular design concept is used here. This is because it is a simpler one. It is going to provide a simpler design thing. A system designing is it is going to be a decomposition of the software into modules that are to be implemented. Modules should be such that they can be composed later. First, what we are going to, the system is there, we are going to divide into number of parts, then we are going to develop those things individually. Afterwards, we are going to be combined all together. Then we are going to find the effective modular design. That how we are going to be dividing the components, the function with the things. The work is functionally independent, cohesive, and coupling is possible. There we are going to be dividing, and then we are going to be developing independently. Afterwards, we are going to combine all together. This is a modular design. Next is a mapping. Mapping into various representation is done using the requirements of a software. Transform and transaction mapping design processes are used in the designing. Next is a refined user interface design. In the user interface design, we have to decide which type of a user interface is necessary. See, for the mobile phone, the graphical user interface is necessary. So we have to think and we have to start designing for that one. Next, if anything, the video is necessary, the voice interface is necessary, then you have to take that one as a user interface thing. It may be GUI, it may be a BUI. Based on the necessary requirements of the customer, we have to consider the design. Next is the refinement. Each component and module design needs to be refined iteratively until it becomes most appropriate for implementation by the software teams. We have to start refining each step until our requirements is fulfilled. That is the design process of an embedded system. Next is the software design process. Here, software design process may require use of architectural description language. That is the ADL. ADL is used for representing the following: control hierarchy, structural partitioning, data structure and hierarchy, software procedures. These all things it is going to be encoding. Here, the five levels of abstraction from the top to bottom level in the design process: requirement, specification, architecture, components, system integration. We'll see one by one how exactly it works for the software design process. First, we'll see the diagram. This is the activity during the software development process. Here first we are going to the embedded system design and development process is going to be start with the analysis, model analysis and collecting the requirements. That is the most important one. Collecting the requirements. After collecting the requirements, we are going to see the specification and refine those requirements. Then we are going to start designing the system. In the design, data structures will be there, software architecture will be there, interfaces will be there, algorithms will be there. We are going to see those all the things and we are going to start designing. Lastly, the implementation will be there. Here in the design, we are going to put the structures. In the implementation, we are going to write the code. Next, the test. Internal logic and external functional. We are going to check those things. That is the testing period. See how exactly these steps will work. Requirements will work, specification will work. We'll see one by one. In the requirement step, what will happen? We are going to collect the requirement from the users. It means we have to obtain the complete clarity of the required purpose, inputs, output, functions, design matrix, and validation of the final developed system specification. There should also be consistency in the requirements. We have to collect all these things from the customers. Then after collecting these all the things, once we have to refine the requirements. We have to clear and precise description of the parameters and functions of the required system to guide the user for expectation from the system. That is the specification. It guides the design of system architecture. Next, we are going to see the architecture. Here we are going to design the data models, attributes of the data structure, data programs, program models, software architecture layers, hardware architectures, all the things we are going to be designing in the architecture design. Next is the components. This is the fourth level in the component level design. The software component processes, interfaces, algorithms are defined in this level. The software development process can be modeled on component based object oriented models. Design of hardware components, ASIP, special function processors, ASIC, IPs, that all the things we are going to be defining here. Which components? See here. For developing the ATM machine, what all the components are necessary? Which type of the hardware is necessary? Is the normal hardware is necessary? GPP is necessary? ASIP is necessary? ASSP is necessary? Or field programmable gate array is necessary? Which one is necessary? We have to decide the components here. Which type of the memory is necessary? See, we'll see one by one. In the processor, ASIP is necessary. Application specific instruction set processor and the general purpose processors are necessary. In the memory, RAM, ROM, internal and external flash or secondary memories are there. Which type of the memory is important for the particular application? And peripherals is that input output both devices are necessary or any extra things. We have to decide components here. internal and external devices to the system ports and the buses. Is that the system is necessary to connect to the internet? Then NIC is necessary. Network interface card is necessary. Identifying the components, interfacing circuits, power source or a battery. Which component is necessary? We have to decide in this component stage. Next is the system integration. Here design components are going to be integrated. We are going to combine all the components together. Components may work fine independently, but when we are going to be integrating those components, they are going to be working differently. So we have to check all those things and we are going to fulfill the requirements of the users. This is the steps of the software design process. Next, the same thing is there here, the specification. This is the design matrix of the embedded system. You see, the design matrix of the embedded systems are very important. First one is the power dissipation. See, power consumed by the system is an important constant in many systems, particularly the battery operated systems such as a mobile phone or a digital camera. The battery needs to be recharged less frequently if the system is a small one. Power, you have to consider the power dissipation. If it is a power supply is directly connected to the system, then there is no problem. You are not going to be considered the dissipation as a one constraint. If it is a battery driven one, you have to check it that one. See, if you are going to your mobile is frequently asking you for the charge the system, then no one is going to take the mobile. If it is charged once, if it is at least 10 hours, 20 hours, it has to come. Then only we'll use the mobile phone. If it is asking for 1 hour, 2 hours, battery draining, this put for charging, then it is waste, no? So the power dissipation is very important for design metrics for the embedded system. Next is the performance. Performance. The execution time taken by instructions in the system is a measure of performance. How we are going to consider the performance? The execution time. How much time it is going to be executing particular instruction. That is going to decide the performance. It is going to be executing very fastly, then the performance of the system is good. Else the system is not performing good. Next, process deadlines. The number of processes execute in the system. That is a power deadlines. Within the particular given time, that particular process has to be executed. It should not exceed the deadline. That is the process deadline. Next is the user. See, this process where is important. This process deadline. See, if you are calling any friend over the internet, means that WhatsApp call, any call you are done. If it is for connecting, if it is taking 20 minutes, 30 minutes, no one is going to use that one. Yes or no? You have to, it has to, the deadline has to be prefixed. If it is not able to connect to the particular system, it has to be ended. Once again, you are going to be trying for that one. Yes, this is the process deadline. Next is the user interfaces and the size. User interfaces that are a GUI, VUIs, that those are called as the user interfaces. The size of the system is going to be measured in terms of the physical space required. RAM in a KB and internal flash memory required in a MB or a GB for running software and storing the data, the number of million logical gates in the hardware. This is going to decide the size of the system. Next is the engineering cost. Engineering cost means for developing the particular system, how much the technical persons are involved in that one. That is the initial cost of developing, debugging, and testing the hardware and software is called as the engineering cost. Initial cost of developing, debugging, testing both hardware and software all together is the engineering cost. Not that particular material, the effort, the processor. For the engineers we are going to pay, companies will pay. That cost is going to become an engineering cost. Next is the manufacturing cost. Manufacturing cost is the cost of manufacturing each unit for shipping. The total cost per unit is a that is going to become a that engineering cost plus all the components cost, that is going to become a manufacturing cost. Next is the prototype development time. Here, time taken in days or months for developing the prototype and in-house testing for the system functionality. It includes engineering time plus prototyping time. That is the protocol development time. Next is a flexibility. Flexibility means flexibility in the design enables offering the different versions of the product without any significant change in the engineering cost. So you are going to buy one mobile. After some days, any new functionalities are necessary for that particular system. Then they have to provide that one. That is the flexibility. Nowadays, everyone is providing. After buying any mobiles, what they are going to do? They are going to give the updates for that mobile. That is the flexibility. For that updates, they are not going to ask you to pay. Getting that is called as a flexibility. Next is a time to market. Time to market means time taken in days or months after prototype development to put the product into the market. That is there is a time to market. Next is a system and user safety. System safety in terms of accidental fall from the hand or a table, theft, and in terms of a user safety when using the product of by the user. These are all the other system safety and the user safety. Next is the maintenance. Maintenance means changeability and addition in the system. Any adding the softwares, any updating the softwares, data, hardwares, that is a maintenance. See, you are going to buy the mobile. If anything happens, they have to give the service for that one. They may charge for that, but they have to give the service. That is called as a maintenance. See, your mobile is you are working with your mobile. If anything happens to that mobile, then you are going to for the service center. That is giving the maintenance for the particular device. That is a maintenance. Next is the formalization of a system design. Formalization of a system design is going to have some of the steps. First one is the requirement and specification of the hardware and the software. Formalization of the system design. Here requirements and specifications of a hardware and software. We are going to check this one. Formalization means specifying in accepted, ordered, and organized form the statements, procedures, actions, states, and functions for the design. Formal representation or modeling is done after the abstraction phase is going to be completed. Formally, we are going to start the system design. That is the formalization of the system design. Here, requirements and specification of the hardware and software. What are the components are required? First, we are going to take the requirements and we are going to take specification. Based on that one, we are going to design which are the hardware components are necessary, which are the software components are necessary. Then we are going to define the architecture of the hardware and software. From all those components, we are going to decide which architecture is necessary and which are the software are going to be used. That we are going to decide here. Coding and implementation as per the architecture. See, based on the architecture, we are going to start coding. If it is 8085, the coding is different. If 8086 is there, then coding is different. See, based on the components, we are going to start decide the coding of the system. Afterwards, testing, validation, and verification of the system. We are going to test the system, validate, and verify the system according to the user requirements. Next is the universal modeling language. The here that is a UML. UML is a formalization language. It is used to model the design of the abstract and functioning objects. A designer describes the following in UML: conceptual design modeling. Here, conceptual design consists of the user diagram, object diagram, sequence diagram, state diagram, task diagram, activity diagram. See, all these things you learned in the software engineering. This is the only deep discussion. What are the things that are going to be added in the embedded system? Next is the class and the object is modeled by class diagram, object diagram. The diagrams describe identity, attribute, components, and behavior. The inheritance in the classes and object, interfaces with the object, and implementation in the object. Structural description of the design components. That is important here. The UML diagram model the behavior in terms of a sequence, states, and state machine and signals. Event description, these all are common under the UML diagram. If you are using this UML like modeling, then you have to go through all these things. Next, we are going to see the design process and design example. How exactly we are going to design the embedded system. First, we'll start with a simple example, that is the automatic chocolate vending machine. What is this automatic chocolate vending machine? See, it is like a ATM machine. If you put the coin, it is going to give the chocolate. If you put 1 rupee coin, it is going to give the 1 rupee chocolate. If you are going to put the 5 rupees coin, it is going to give the 5 rupee chocolate. You are going to select. User interface will be there. You have to select which 5 rupee chocolate you want. You want the Dairy Milk chocolate, 5 star, many like versions. The variations will be there. You have to check out and you have to. It will give you that chocolate. That is a automatic chocolate vending machine. See, what are how exactly that is going to look like? See this one. Diagrammatic representation of the automatic chocolate vending machine. Here, the keypad for the user is there. Keypad for the user interface is there. LCD display or a touch screen for users. What is the use of the keypad? For giving the inputs. LCD display the screen for the output. It is working as an output. Whatever the thing is there, that is going to display on the screen. Mechanical coin sorter. Coin is necessary, has to see. If 5 rupees are necessary, then if you are putting 1 rupee coin 5 times, then it has to count that one. For that, it is a mechanical coin sorter machine is going to be used. Microcontroller based hardware. The hardware is necessary: RTOS, software, USB, wireless modem, chocolate, and refunds coins collector. If you are going to put the five rupee coin and if you want to take a 1 rupee chocolate or 2 rupee chocolate, then it has to refund the remaining amount. So that for that it has one refund coin collector should be there for collecting the coin as well as collecting the chocolates. Same, it is like a ATM machine. Same, how you are going to insert the card, like that you are going to put the coin, it is going to take the coin, it is going to count the coin, then it is going to ask which type of a chocolate you want. Then you are going to select the chocolate. Based on that one, it is going to give the chocolate. If any amount is remaining, then we are going to refund the amount. Here, what are the components will be there? Coin insert slot is there. Keypad on top of the machine will be there. LCD display unit on top of the machine. It displays the menu, text entered into the automatic chocolate vending machine, and pictorial diagram of that chocolates, welcome message, thank you message, and other messages it is going to display. Graphic interaction with the machine, display time and the date, delivery slot, so that the child can collect the chocolates and coin if it is refunded, and internet connection code so that the owner can get to know that the chocolates are there in the automatic chocolate vending machine or not. So these are the things are necessary for developing the automatic chocolate vending machine. See, based on these things, we are going to decide which are the hardware components are required. The hardware components required are the microcontroller and the application specific instruction set processor, RAM memory for storing the temporary variables, and the stack ROM memory for storing the application code, and RTOS codes for scheduling the tasks. Flash memory for storing user preferences, contact details, user addresses, user date of birth, user identification code, and any frequently asked questions are there, that also it has to store. For those things, we are going to use the flash memory. Got to know what are the hardware components are necessary? Microcontroller or ASIC, RAM, ROM, flash memory. Next, timer and the interrupt controller is very important for system, for giving the system time, date. If any system interrupt at the time, interrupt controller is important. Next is the TCP/IP sort for connecting the internet. Next, automatic chocolate vending machine specific hardware. That hardware it should look like one box, no? Same like ATM. Like that one structure we have to decide. For that structure we are going to use some hardware component. That hardware and the power supply. Because it is a big one, so we are going to take a direct power supply. Next is the software components. Keypad, input reader, display is necessary. Read coin, delivery chocolate, TCP/IP stack processing, TCP/IP, that stack communication. These are the software components are necessary. These software components, the keypad input read. What is the use of this one? Keypad input read process. It is going to take the input from the that keyboard and it is going to process that one and it is going to pass the message to the next. That next will take that message and it is going to start working. And display messages, thank you messages will be there, welcome again, that software is necessary, and read coin for reading the coins, delivery chocolate, all the software components are necessary for that one. This TCP/IP stack processing, TCP/IP stack communication, this is used for a network process for communicating the system to the owner so that he can get to know that a automatic chocolate vending machine is empty. Or no, these are the things software components are necessary. Next, we move to the smart card. Smart card, I hope everyone knows this one. Smart card. Smart card is like a plastic card in ISO standard dimensions 85.6 mm into 83.98 into zero point 0.8 mm. This is the dimension. See, smart card is nothing but whatever that one small chip is there in your ATM card, credit cards, debit card, on that one small one chip will be there. That is called as a smart card. The embedded system on the card is there. It is also called as a SOC, system on chip. ISO recommended standards are ISO 75 7816 for host machine contact based cards and ISO 11443 for the contactless card. There are two types of the smart cards are there. One is the contact based, another one is the contactless is there. The ISO two standards are there. Next, the silicon chip is just a few in size and is sealed in between the two layers. See how it is fixed in your ATM card? It will be in the between the two plastic cards. It is sealed in between the layers. It's very small in size, protects the card from bending. We'll see how what is the hardware components in the contactless smart card. We are going to see only the contactless smart card. Here RAM is necessary, ROM, EEPROM, next processor, timer and interrupt controller, amplitude shift, key modulator circuit is there, charge pump circuit is there, interface, IO circuit. This is the diagram of the embedded system for the smart card, that is the contactless smart card. Processor is very important one. Processor is the main component. It may be microcontroller or a microprocessor or a ASIP or a ASIC. It may be anything. Here the RAM is there. RAM is for storing the temporary variable and the stack ROM is there. The ROM is for storing the applications and the RTOS. EEPROM, it is used for the application variables. Flash memory for account number, expiry date and the card number. For that we are going to use the flash memory. Next, timer and the interrupt handler. For timing requirements of the system we are going to use the timer. Next, interrupt handler. It is going to control the system. If the any system stuck for a longer time, what it is going to do? It is going to call the interrupt service routine to execute some other code. Next is the NFC is necessary. NFC means NFC port for a wireless communication with the host, ATM or a card reader from that ATM machine to the banking system. It has to be connected. So for that one we are going to use the NFC card. Near field communication. NFC means near field communication. Next, it is a cell powered by radiation falling on the card's metal plated surface, which also functions as an antenna transceiver. See, any extra charge we are going power supply we are not going to give for the smart card. So it is going to have a small antenna on that circuit. Like this circuit is there, on this one small antenna will be there, that is going to absorb the radiation falling on that metal, then it is going to get charged on that one. That is a thing. It is a going to use the charge pump circuit, that is going to give us power to the this chip. The main hardware components, what are there? Here we see microcontroller like ASIP is there, RAM for temporary variables and stack, ROM is for application code and RTOS codes for scheduling the tasks, EEPROM for storing the user data, user addresses, user identification code, card number, expiry date, timer and interrupt controller is a carrier frequency 16 megahertz generating circuit is a amplified amplitude shift key interfacing circuit for the IO's charge pump. These are the hardware components. Here fabrication key, personalization key, utilization logs, these all things will be there, and the RTOS application codes, that all together is going to be stored in the ROM memory. Next is the software components. Software components are a boot up, initialization and OS programs. Smart card secure file system is necessary. Security is very important here. Connection establishment and termination, communication with the host, cryptography, host authentication, card authentication, additional parameters or a recent new data sent by the host. These all functionality we use the software components. The smart card OS special features. Some special features are there, that is protected environment. See, for giving the protection to the cards, for the transaction, we are going to use the SSLs, and we have to use the, sorry, we have to use some cryptographic systems so that every transaction we should be secure. Every method, class, and runtime library should be scalable. Code size generated should be minimum. Memory should not exceed 64 KB, limiting usage of specific data type, limiting uses of specific data types, multidimensional array, long 64-bit integer, floating points. These all the things should be featured. These are the special features of the smart card.